I want to talk about something very different today. It was kind of based on a personal experience this past Sunday. What I want to talk about is why your biggest setback can also be your best launchpad. And so one of the things I want to talk about today is first how perspective, like how reorienting our perspective around what we perceive as negative, how we tap into a new level of resilience, and I want us to reflect. I want to talk about two of the universal laws that align with this as well. Because I think sometimes we forget these things, the law of polarity, the law of rhythm. We'll talk about that in today's conversation. And I want to talk about what we see as universally a setback. If this sounds like something you've navigated, I promise you want to stick with me through the rest of the show.
Let's lay your goals, let your greatness flow with inspirational perspective.
Setbacks do not automatically become launchpads. They only transform when we meet the setback with the right mindset. Like we have to meet the setback with the right mindset. Okay. By the way, I would write this down if you can. The mindset that, and this is what I really, this past Sunday I'm going to talk about this situation in a moment, but the question I kept asking myself is, what is this here to teach me? Like, what am I supposed to be learning right now? What am I supposed to be learning that's going to take me to that next level? And so I really want you to think about this, like setbacks and turning them into your launch pad and how mindset is it. Okay. Every setback is a step up. Every setback can be a step up if you rise to meet it, right? If you rise to meet it, every setback can be a step up if you rise to meet it. If you rise to meet it. Okay. All right, so let's put some foundational stuff in first. I want you to think about the last setback that you experienced. And you might be going through one right now. The last setback that you experienced, because we've all had setbacks, right? I mean, all of us. Can you think about the last setback you experienced, Ade? You don't got to share it. But, I mean, I want you to think about, just nod your head when you're like, okay, I'm there. Like the last, like, and it felt like, man, okay, this is, right? And I want you to think of a setback as a box, okay? When you are inside a setback, what's happening? What's happening for you? Now, I'm going to tell you what happened for me last Sunday, and I'm going to share the setback in a moment. And remember, I was with you all last Sunday. It was a good day, right? Came in, did the show. I did our thing afterwards, everything. I went home. It was the second day of the cleanse. By the way, those of you all who went through the cleanse, I do want to hear from you at some point, how you're doing later in the show. So keep that in mind. But it's the second day of my cleanse, and so I'm cleansing. I'm on my second juice. I'm feeling good. Put my children down for a nap. I decide, like, you know what? We all in the same room. It was like love. You know what I'm saying? It's a great day. I'm going to lay down too. I got 2 hours, like 2 hours of uninterrupted sleep in the middle of the day. Phenomenal, right? Like I felt great. I wake up. The Rams are playing the Seahawks. I'm like, oh, okay. Let me sit here. I'm chilling. I'm good. And then I get a phone call. Right? And almost like instantaneously. Like if you're watching right now on YouTube and Facebook, like, give me some hearts if you've been there. Like you get, everything's cool. And then you get that phone call. And I pick it up And it's like, all of a sudden I was in this box. And the box was like emotion, right? I was feeling all of my perspective narrow. It was like, because I'm listening to this person give me this news. And I'm like, shoo. And I talk about vision all the time. But in that point, when you're in the box, you don't, I'm not seeing 2026 vision. All this stuff. Like, that's not what's on my mind. What's on my mind is everything that I just heard that put me in the box. What I had to do, I got off the phone. I went and told my wife. She was like, wow. I'm like, yeah. I'm going to share the event in a moment. And then I was like, okay. I went into to one of the rooms nobody was at. Okay. Okay. I don't know what's going on, but how are you going to handle this, right? Step back emotionally. I'm feeling stuff. Step back emotionally. I don't know what's going on, but I need to get where the setback is happening so I can get a 360 view, right? Like, what's really going on here? Because I don't know what's going on. So I need to get some visibility first. So here's what happened, right? Because I'm sure everybody's like, what happened to you, right? Here's what happened. Get a phone call from a tenant. I got some water coming out on my floor by the window. Like, by the window? No water's supposed to be over there. What do you mean by the window? Tell me what's going on. It's a bunch of soot coming out on the floor. There's water on the floor. My rug is empty. My rug is all wet. My entire rug is wet. It came, I went to church this morning. I don't know if it was running then. So now my mind is spinning like, oh my goodness, how long is this, whatever water, wherever it's coming from, how long has this water been running? Right? And she's like, yes, I came home. I didn't notice it right away, but then I walked on the rug. I'm like, why is my rug wet? When I found it, water coming out. I don't think it's a lot though. Okay, maybe. But I'm like, but the whole rug is wet. Like, it's enough. She lives on the second floor. There are people underneath her, right? There's a unit underneath her. I'm like, my goodness. Okay, let me get over there. I get over there, and I go into the basement, and it sounds like rain. I mean, it sounds like rain coming down. The basement is, and it's a finished basement, right? It's shot. I ain't even seen her unit yet. And I'm like, whoa. I go, put my key in the first floor, look at that. It sounds like rain. I'm like, oh my goodness. I go up to her floor. I'm looking at it. Floor's wet, soot everywhere. Turns out, radiator baseboard pipe burst. Now, here's the first thing that went through my mind. God, I thought I was your boy. Why are you letting this happen to me? Like, how many other people, when you have a setback, especially if you believe that you're like, I'm on the path, right? I'm trying to do everything. Like, if I was doing stuff wrong, I'd be like, I guess I had this one coming, right? But I'm trying to be responsible. And like, even when I think about this particular building, like, I had everything serviced, and I'm like, I thought I was your boy. I thought I was. Why are you letting this happen to me? Like, and that's the first place. I'm gonna be honest. That's the first place I went to victim. I'm a victim. Why is this happening to me right now? So I take a pause again because I can get in my emotions, but emotions ain't gonna stop this water, right? So what do you need to do? Go shut down the water, turn off the heat. Mind you, Sunday, turning off the heat was like you like. Sunday, what was like 3 degrees outside? Like 3, right? I tell the tenant I got to turn off the heat. She just looks at me like, what? Like, I got to turn off the heat because it's the boiler radiator. That's where the water's coming from, right? Turn off the heat. I call a 24-hour plumber. He gets over there. That's in the area, right? He gets over there, and it's 4 figures just for him to touch it, right? I'm like, here we go. Go ahead. So he does his thing. He's like, all right, man, we got it handled. Let's turn the water back on. And I'm like, all right, well, it looks like I'm going to have some stuff I'm going to have to do on the first floor. But, all right. Turn it back on. There's another leak. As soon as we turn that water back on in the boiler, like, boom, it's coming out of another part of the same one, right? Now, he's like, lucky for you, I got one piece left. I'm going to go ahead and seal this one up. Go back down, turn the water off, turn the boiler off. He does that one. We turn it back on, turn the boiler back on. Boom! Another leak. He's like, I don't have anything left. I don't know what to do. I said, we can't do nothing. We can't. He's like, what did we? And now I'm like, at a minimum, these folks need heat. And I'm like, what's happening right now? I'm in the box, right? Turn everything off. I call a restoration company. I'm like, yo, this is bad. I know I'm going to have to file a claim. They come over. The guy comes over probably he was in an area because people having problems, right? I'm not the only one that's going through this. And by the way, whatever setback you're having, you're not the only one. Like, that's the other part, right? The plumber that came in remind me. The restoration guy that came in remind me. They'd be like, I've been working all day. People are having setbacks everywhere. I'm not the only one. We work. He's like, hey, man, you got a piece like this? I'm looking all over the place in the building for this. Maybe I got a piece. Maybe I'll go out to the garage at that building. Maybe I got this piece. Don't have this. He figured out how to crimp it. We stop it. Restoration guy comes in and is like, look, man, this place is shot. My tenant's like, I can't live like this, right? I mean, and I'm like, man. And I want you all to really hear me, because what it felt like is that all of a sudden, something that was going just fine completely crumbled. Tenant's like, I can't live like this. Like, I mean, we can't stay like this. Like, I'm like, man, so now all the rent is gone. Everything's gone. And I mean, again, remember, when you have a setback, often what happens is you go into the box. Emotion, your perspective narrows, your vision shrinks. And I'm like, man, all right, this is about to be a hole. And as optimistic, y'all hear me every Sunday, as optimistic as I normally am, I'm like, what is happening? What is happening? Now, I mean, it's 1:00 in the morning. I'm also exhausted. Thank God for the 2-hour nap. I thought that was going to put me up. It's just maintaining me now. Okay. The guy's like, hey, man, if I was you, I'd file this claim right now. I'm like, all right, get on the app, file the claim. And the restoration guy says, I can't get anybody out here till Tuesday. What do you mean, man? You're like, Tuesday. Let me at least get the heat back on in this place. We done sealed the leak, but it's still kind of leaking. But at this point, I got to live with it. All right. That's the setback. Every setback, you heard me say, every setback is a step up if you rise to meet it. Every setback is a step up if you rise to meet it. In my 20s, I had a setback when I got kicked out of college. Most of you all know the story. I wouldn't be here if it weren't for that setback. Now, at the time, the setback I'm experiencing last week, I don't have that framing. Not yet, right? Everybody leaves. The plumber leaves. The restoration guy leaves. I'm standing in the basement, standing in water, right? I'm standing in all this water. It's 3:00 in the morning, Monday morning. And I'm saying to myself, okay, Linnell, what do you believe? What do you believe? And I really want you all to fundamentally get this, because this is where I had to get present to, like, what is your faith structure? Because remember, I said the way that we turn setbacks into launchpads is mindset. Like, where are you going to go right now? You've experienced all the emotions, like up and down, up and down. You've experienced all the emotions, but now what? What are you going to do? What is your structure? And I stood there and I said a prayer, man. It's like, all right, I don't know what to do about this. And I mind you that this building is just one thing that I'm responsible for. My children are going to wake up in a few hours. I got to, school. Like, you get my going? All that's about to come at me. This is one thing that I'm responsible for. Anybody else feel like that? Like, I got this setback, and now that's like blaring, but that's not the only thing I'm responsible for. I have other responsibilities that people are leaning on me for, that I just got to do, that all sync together in terms of like what makes my life operate. And like, at this point, I'm like, I'm not sure how to navigate this in like a very clear way. So I say that prayer. And I believe most of us, when we get in, like most of us will, hopefully you say a prayer. I say a prayer. I get myself emotionally grounded because we know how important our emotional currency is. And I lock the building up and I leave. Go home. Let me get a few hours. Of sleep. Wake up the next morning, back at it, right? Long story short, here's what happens. Friday, I'm navigating this mess. And now the building, I could put some pictures up on Instagram, like show the story of it. But we've had to take down all the walls, the ceilings, tenant moved out Friday, right? All this is happening. And I call, now I'm like, okay, from a place of mindset, one of the things I know is that you do everything you know how to do. Now, last week was dedicated to some other things. Those things didn't get done, right? Anybody else been there? Like, give me some hearts on Facebook if you've been there, right? And some likes on YouTube if you've been there, right? By the way, you can follow the stream live by going to facebook.com/Coach Linnell Harris and youtube.com/Linnell Harris. So last week was dedicated to a certain number of things, right? I have to take a detour. What did I say earlier in terms of detours? Like, how do we turn life's detours into our greatest opportunities? Like, how do I turn this into an opportunity? Linnell, how do you turn this into an opportunity? And I'm navigating. Every morning I'm waking up, I'm going through my morning routine, right? Slay Goals members, y'all know I'm doing it, but in the back of my mind is this anxiety. I just want to know, for those of you who are watching in the stream, just if when the setback hits, you experience that anxiety that just kind of sits with you. You know what I'm saying? Just put me too. Like that, you have a setback, it just kind of sit with you and you want to shake it, right? You're like, man, that happened to you? Like, you want to shake it, but it's just sitting there because this thing it's not clear. It's still murky. You're in the middle of it. It's dark. You can't see, like, how you getting around this. So I'm following my own frameworks, right? I'm like, man, take action, like get around this. What's going on with this property? Because what you don't know is last year the same thing happened, but not that big. And I did everything I thought I knew how to do, right, to handle it, but it's happening to me again. And so what seems to be something that is for me is turning against me. And and so I'm like, well, what I do know to do is be responsible and take action. So I call the HVAC company. Y'all come out. I need you to do just evaluate the entire system. What's going on here, right? Because it ain't the windows. It ain't, it's not, what's going on here? Why is it fried? Why would a pipe burst in a warm house? I forgot to tell y'all the house was warm, wasn't cold. I'm trying to figure this out. So I got this question in my mind. And I'm trying to figure it out. Anybody had a setback that when you go through all of the reasonable questions and you answer them, all the boxes are checked. Why is this happening to me? Anybody else? Why is this happening? Why is this happening? So I know that when I get this HVAC guy over there, he's going to be like, here's your problem. I'm banking on it, right? Because I want him to find a problem, because then I got a solution. Like, the solution is y'all fix it, right? This guy's going through everything, and this is Friday when we get hit with the snow, right? It's crazy. Normally it takes me 10 minutes to get to this property, man. It took me like 45 minutes. I thought I was going to miss him, right? And I'm anxious about that. I'm just in the truck like, my goodness, you got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. Anybody else feel like when they had a setback, everything else stacks on top of it? All right, so I'm waiting for him to give me the problem, because if he gives me the problem, it's actually a good thing, because then if I know the problem, I can solve it. He looks at me and says, Mr. Harris, your system is solid. What? Come on, man. Like, something has got to be wrong. Well, man, this weather, it's just, people are experiencing. Nah, man. I've had this piece of property for 20 years. We've gone through sub-zero multiple times. This hasn't happened. Now it's happening back to back in 2 years. Like, something is going on. Something is going on. And I can't figure out. I'm like, I need to figure this thing out. He's like, well, I've been here. I answer all your questions. Because mind you, y'all know me. I got questions. I'm hitting him with every angle, right? Every angle of a question that I can think of, I'm hitting him with this question, right? I'm hitting him with the questions, and he's not giving me the problem. He's like, you're fine. I'm like, I'm not. He's like, by the way, you have one of the best systems, and you don't want the new systems, because the new systems ain't like the old systems. Y'all know what I mean when I say that? Like, I hate to say it, but the stuff that we had years ago, like, if you can hold on to that nowadays, you hold on to that, because they don't make the chairs the same. They don't make the furniture the same. They don't make the cars the same. Like, nothing. He's like, hey, man, look, hold on to this system. Don't rip it out and put a new one in. He's like, because they don't build it the same way they used to. Ain't nothing wrong with this system. You've got to be kidding me. He leaves. I'm up on the second floor. Mind you, now, a building that used to be occupied is empty. A week ago, right, now it's empty. And I'm standing in this empty second floor apartment. They done moved out. And I'm saying a prayer like, what am I supposed to do? I'm taking the action I know how to take. I'm taking the action I know how to take. What am I supposed to do? Anybody else been there? Like, you like, Linnell, I listened to you. Man, I'm taking the action I know how to take, and I'm still there. I'm still there. I'm still experiencing this setback. I'm still in the box. I just say a small prayer. I'm like, look, I'm doing what I know how to do. I need you. I need you to show up now. Like, I need you to show up now. This is why keeping that line open is so important, man. I'm standing there. The guy who's over the construction, because they're demoing everything. They're taking everything down, right? They all the dry stuff, they do. You don't want mold and all that. It's all down. And so I'm in a building that a week ago was fine. It was great. It's finished. Everything, I take care of my property. And now it's just like, it's dusty. It's dirt everywhere. It's just, and they're taking all this stuff down and throwing it out in the dumpster. And he goes, Mr. Harris. Yeah, man. Because I'm not, what else? You want to see this. I want to see what? You want to see this. When I got the pipe burst last year in the same property, I said a prayer. I was like, hey, lead me to the cause of this. And it didn't happen right away. I fixed it. And, nothing else happened. I got the system maintained and, and I thought everything's great. So when it happened the second time, I'm like, well, I thought I handled it. Lead me to the cause. Say, man, you want to check this out. So he calls me down. He says, hey, get up on this ladder. And to paint the picture for you all, it's a big window, kind of a big window in the living room on the first floor. All right. And above the window, they've torn so now all you can see is the studs and the brick. And they've torn all the insulation out. And all you can see the studs and the brick. But he left the insulation up at the top. He's like, I want you to look at this. And I'm like, why is the insulation brown? I'm like, the water shouldn't have done it that quick. And he's like, it's been eaten up by cold air. What do you mean it's been eaten up by cold air? He said, I think over the years, it's just been pounding this insulation. You know, insulation is supposed to be squishy. It was flaky. It was flaky like flakes when you touch it, right? I'm like, what's happening? He's like, well, push it to the side. I push it to the side, and there's a gap between the brick and the roof, and nothing but cold air coming in my face. Wow. This is my problem. This is my problem. How many of you, when you've had the setback, right? When you've had the setback, once you identify the problem, it makes you actually feel good. You're like, now I know what's wrong. Now I know what's wrong. When I tell you, when I saw the problem, a weight fell off me. Now I know what's wrong. I was like, man, I've had this building 20 years. He said the insulation was doing its job. But it's not supposed to be direct up against cold air. Like it just wore it out over time. Almost like the wind just put a hole through it. You feel me? To the point then it got right to those pipes. Wow. Wow. All of a sudden that burden just came off me. Boom. But then get this. I get the phone call from the claim adjuster. He's like, hey, man, yeah, we're going to come out on Tuesday, take a look at everything. But, you know, you're covered for this. And we're going to take care of the loss of income, too. Wow. 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 What I held for an entire week as a burden, like all of a sudden, boom. And now I can see clear. I'm out the box. Vision's back, everything. Not only that, I've been dealing with the problem of cold air in this apartment through multiple tenants, right? Mr. Harris, why is it so cold up here? And I'm trying to, I don't know, right? I'm doing all the things I know. Let me check the HVAC system. I don't know. There's my problem. Almost always, when we experience a setback, there's a root cause. What's the root cause? Like, what's the root cause in your health if you have a setback? And are you willing to go after it, right? You already know that crack is already sealed. Like, first thing we did, right? Hey, y'all gonna seal that today? We're gonna seal it with what we have, and we'll seal it permanently next week. Excellent, right? But for every setback we have, there's always a root cause. A root cause in our health. A root cause if there's a setback in a relationship, there's a root cause there. If there's a setback in my finances, there's a root cause. Do I want to clearly get to the root cause? Because part of how we come out of setbacks, how we turn setbacks into a launch pad is, what is the true problem here? I got to take all these meds. I'm older now. I have a health setback. It doesn't have to be permanent. One of the members who went through, Slay Your Goals members who went through the cleanse with us, we had a forum, and she's like, man, my blood pressure is coming down every day, right? Now, maybe diet is part of the root cause, right? Root cause. Maybe you feel disconnected. Maybe you feel like you're operating every day with a sense of anxiety. Maybe the setback is in your spiritual connection. What's the root cause? If I address that thing, I can have peace. And is peace worth it to you? Because then if you address that, the setback becomes your launch pad. In the second hour, I want to orient us around this. I want to tell that story because it's a real life situation. And I know I'm not the only one that goes through, maybe not it in that way, but these series of events in our lives that have us questioning, like, man, where am I? What's happening? What's going on for me? And I want to talk about the process, like break down the process that you can use to turn these setbacks into the launch pad for what happens for you in 2026. Have you taken the pause first? Like if you've experienced, have you taken the pause? Because pausing doesn't delay success. What it does is it often just reveals it. Like, have you taken the pause? Again, stepping back emotionally, walking around the situation 360 degrees, and then seeing what wasn't visible before. Sometimes we got to tear down walls to actually see what the true problem is. Sometimes we got to break stuff up that's been there for a while to see what the true problem is. To see what the true problem is. Every setback is a step up if you rise to meet it. Every setback is a step up if you rise to meet it. When I got kicked out of college, we talk about the emotions we feel when we go through a setback. The emotions I felt, shame. I remember like my friends and stuff, like I didn't want them to know. And I lost a lot. I mean, I had a lot riding. But I didn't, I was to blame. It was still a setback, but I was to blame. Shame, fear, uncertainty. And those things, like what they did was they actually created disconnection, like I separated myself. But here's what it forced. Like what I got down to is the root cause for why I got kicked out of college is I didn't do the work. Like I had to get honest with myself. Like, man, you didn't do the work. You did not do the work. And what it created was a man who began to go on a learning journey that now, one of the reasons I'm so committed to action, I'm so committed to doing the work is because of that setback in my early 20s. And it created a launch pad for my life because I saw like, man, and by the way, I'm so happy that happened. How many of you experienced a setback in your life and when you look at it now, like full visibility, you like, I'm actually kind of happy that happened. If that hadn't happened, I wouldn't be who I am today. And then I want you to look at the setback you're currently experiencing and reorient yourself around that. Like, trouble don't last always, right? If you're in action, it's going to work itself out. But who is it creating? Like right now in that setback that you're feeling, financially, physically, whatever it may be, who is it transforming you into? And if we begin to focus on that, man, how can that take us to the next level? One of the ways we turn setbacks into launch pads is we prepare. We prepare. Because setbacks will happen. As a matter of fact, I think that's a good segue into the universal laws, because one of the universal laws is the law of rhythm. And the law of rhythm states that your life will go through cycles. Like you will go through cycles. You will have up cycles and down cycles. And when it comes to setbacks, like if you have a down cycle, the law of rhythm states that the down cycle cannot last forever, which means that this down cycle must turn into an up cycle, right? That's what the law of rhythm states. And by the way, when I talk about these laws, I believe that they're God's laws because, the first three universal laws are immutable. Like that's if they're immutable, then they have to be from the Creator himself, right? And so the law of rhythm states that you will have up times and you'll have down times. And if I'm having downtimes, if I know downtimes are coming, then that's why I save money. That's why I pay for insurance. That's why I have everything in place for the downtime. So when I experience the down cycle, like, it's not going to feel good, but I'm able to navigate through it. It's like having a flashlight when the lights go out, right? I mean, the lights are going to go out at some point. We've all had our electricity stop. But then are you prepared, right? Because the one with the flashlight is navigating it a bit better than the one who, like, I didn't even get the flashlight. I don't got candles. I don't have anything. So saving money, all the things that we talk about normally on this show are the ways that we prepare for down cycles. Insurance, savings, all those things. That's a really good one. That was number one. He went on to say, that's what I remind myself of in those moments, the blessing of being prepared. I love that. Number two, you have experience and perspective. Yeah, no doubt. That's good. That's real good. Thanks for that, brother. Joyce said, I treat setbacks as information to learn from. That's phenomenal. That's phenomenal. That's one listener said, losing my job was a setback, but God had other plans for me, and now all is well. Yeah, yeah. And when you're going through it, man, it's like what's happening? But, you know, and again, remind you all, I prayed. I wanted to know this. I was like, what is going on here? Why is it cold in these units? It's like, well, in order for me to tell you, I gotta destroy all this, right? And sometimes we don't want the tear down. But that's part of creating the launch pad. Cantice here. For me, one was getting back into school after a long break due to hardship. Realizing this is always a process and remedy. The courage and tenacity to walk through the steps and complete the process. And Cantice, what I know about you is now on the other side of that process, you're operating as an entrepreneur and operating within your purpose. But in order for that to happen, in order for that launch to take off, there had to be a setback. Okay. Hey, if you're enjoying what you're watching right now, do me a quick favor. I want you to hit the like button and make sure you subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to tap the notification bell so you never miss when we drop new content. Seriously, it means the world that you're here. Thanks for watching, and let's get back to it. Here's what I want us to really get. When a setback happens, it's so important that we understand that this is part of the law of rhythm, right? This is not the time to collapse, but the time to stand strong and say, like Joyce said in the Facebook comments, what am I supposed to learn? And what is the root cause? Like, what is the root cause? And then the next step is recalibration. Like, if there's a setback in your health, it's like, pause. What am I supposed to learn from this? And then recalibrate. Now, the idea is not to go on and keep doing the same thing, right? How do I recalibrate? How do I use this energy, right? Because even the fear, the anxiety, all those things, that's energy that you can then turn into the action that happens next. You know what? Let me fuel. That felt so bad that let me use the memory of that feeling to fuel the discipline necessary and the vision that I have for my health, the vision that I have for my next relationship, the vision that I have for my finances moving forward. That felt so bad, I don't ever want to be there again. So now let me use that as steam to cast a vision. And then you always have to choose growth over allowing it to be personal damage. Either I'm choosing growth or I'm going to allow it to break me personally. And for me, it's like, how is this going to grow me? It's not going to break me. How is it going to grow me? How is it going to grow me? So every setback requires a mindset reset. A mindset reset. And like this week, that's what I was going through. Mindset reset. Like constantly like, okay, you teach these frameworks, you believe in these frameworks, you know, you believe in the creator, you believe these things. Like, okay, mindset reset. Mindset reset. Faith means belief plus action. What action are you supposed to take, right? I was like down to the basics like that fundamentally. It also, believe it or not, gives us a brand new starting point. Like I told you the story about this piece of property. Like at that piece of property, everybody's gone. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a brand new starting point. It's a brand new, I'm excited about it. It's a brand new starting point. Get the repaint and all, like brand new starting point. Every setback creates a brand new starting point, an opportunity for a brand new vision. I want you to think about it like that, like a brand new vision. How you turn it into a launch pad is you allow the breakdown and the emotion of that to actually fuel what you see for your future. And then take action in that direction. It's a tool for reframing setbacks into strategy. Like what are the things I need to do? You can only imagine any other property that I own. I'm like, okay, I need to check this out, right? I need to know. And I now have experience because if I ever have another property, I'm like, why is it cold in here? I know now. Hey, tear out all the top of these walls. Let's look at this. Like I know now. The other universal law that I want us to really examine as we think about setbacks is the law of polarity. And the law of polarity states that every experience contains within it its opposite. I really want you to wrap your mind around whatever you're going through. The law of polarity states that every experience contains within it its opposite. So if this experience is negative, what I'm going through right now feels horrible. It means, right? What it means is that within that experience, there's another opportunity for you to feel good. Like I told Friday, I walked out feeling good, right? The experience had flipped itself. I called my wife and I was like, man, I feel like a load fell off, right? The same experience that had created this anxiety and negativity and all these things, and I'm fighting through it, that same experience, the law of polarity states, there's an opposite. Where now I feel optimistic, I feel grateful, I know the solution to the problem, I get to redesign how this is all going to look for the future. Every experience has its opposite. If your relationship right now, it feels like contentious and negative, and you're like, man, what is happening? Every experience has its opposite. Every relationship goes through cycles, right? Law of rhythm, right? How do I push us to the other side of this cycle? How do I lead us to the other side of this cycle? And the law of polarity, what we learn from it is your perspective. This is why perspective is so important. Your perspective determines what side you experience. Either you sit in the negative or you continue to examine it until you find the positive, right? Now, I don't know about you, but the negative thing is going to happen, right? As much as I don't like to feel any level of anxiety about anything, like I experienced that this week. But the idea was to sit in it and work through it until I came out to the positive side of it, period. Here's what happens when you're looking at the law of polarity. The setback didn't change. My perspective did. As I gained more knowledge, my perspective did. Now I can look at it and say, what a phenomenal opportunity. What a launch pad for this piece of property to go to the next level. Now, for those of us who are believers, one of the things that really came, I'm reading Romans right now. And I happen to be reading Romans 8. Create is good, right? I'm going through all this, and I'm reading Romans 8. For all things work together for good to them that love the Lord. And I read that in the middle of the week, right? And I was like, huh. Like, where's the... And then, it's like, but I believe this. I believe this. And we're going to go through things that don't feel good. There's another in Proverbs, I think it's Proverbs 26, where it says, the righteous may fall 7 times, yet 7 times do they get up. Right? The law of rhythm, the law of polarity. Everything can work together for good. But we have to believe that. And what this requires is, again, perspective. What angle are you looking at your setback with, whatever it is? Whether it's in your health, your relationship, your finances, your career, your purpose, your spirituality. Maybe spiritually right now you feel disconnected. What angle are you looking at the disconnection with? It could be an opportunity to grow closer, right? An opportunity to take ground. Like, it's all about the perspective. When I tell you all that purpose brings peace, like, it's one of the things I always fall back on. And by the way, that's why sometimes when negative things happen, I'll admit I get confused. I was like, I opened the story with, man, God, I thought I was your boy, right? And I'll talk to God like that. I'm like, hey, man. And I'll search my life like, I'm like, where am I off point? Where am I out of integrity? I thought I was your boy, right? And it's like, yeah, but you've been praying about, this cold air. And you want to know where it's coming from. So I'm showing you where it's coming from, right? But purpose, where you can stand solid in that, knowing that whatever the setback is will be a launch pad for what's next. But here's the other thing, patience. Patience. Like I said, been reading Romans in Romans 5, I believe Paul walks through, that when we go through tribulation, the tribulation is a work of patience in us. And that work of patience in us is man, I'm forgetting the next part. But, go check it out, Romans 5. It's right at the beginning, too. You don't got to read long. But that work of patience in us is it going to hope, and then hope to the next level? If I were to give you a practice this week in terms of how we turn setbacks into launch pads, this would be the practice. I want you to think about your life. And one of the things that I give my clients is I give them what I call this journey line exercise. And the journey line exercise is where you take a piece of paper, you draw a line through the middle, and that line is the like when everything is level, right? Everything is okay, like it's good. And then above the line is when great things happen, and when below the line is when bad things have happened. And I do this exercise with leaders with their careers, right? And the last time I did this with a group of leaders, we were in the room, and they were going through this journey line, up, down, up, down. And what we began to realize as people told their stories, because then you get up and you actually share your journey line with other members of the room to kind of help other leaders kind of know, like, this is why I operate the way I operate. Because our setbacks and our wins begin to dictate how we move in the world. And so I do this exercise with these leaders, and as the leaders go, every time they begin to realize, like, wait a second, they'll look at me and they'll go, hey, when I wrote this, I perceived it as bad. It's beneath the line, but I wouldn't have been promoted, or I wouldn't have experienced this. I wouldn't have had this. These things wouldn't have happened if I didn't experience this down point. Almost every time there's a down point, and I mean, I've done this with hundreds of leaders. Every time there's a down point, the next thing is an up point. Very, very seldom have I seen somebody, I've never seen somebody draw a journey line with all down points. You follow? But when we're in the down point, it doesn't feel like there's anything else. Again, navigating setbacks is a matter of perspective. Like, it doesn't feel like there's anything else, but those down points always launch them to the next part of their career. And you go through these journey lines with leaders, they like, but then this happened, or I got fired, but then I got hired to be a leader over here. And that's how I'm in this room with you all right now and experiencing these things. And, and it's been phenomenal. And I love the culture and all these, all these kind of things, right? But the reality of the emotion we feel in the setback can sometimes block our vision. This happened for me when I was in corporate America. I was a senior manager. I'm going to tell the story real quick. Some of you all may have heard it. And it's a Friday. I remember it, man. It's a Friday. I'm in the office, and I get a phone call from IT, and they're like, hey, we got a critical issue. You can hear customer conversations when you dial into the IVR. So I call the 1-800 number, and he's right. When I'm on hold, I can literally hear our agents having conversations with our customers, and the customers are sharing private information. My phone number is, right? And so he's on the other line. I pick up my cell phone, and I go, oh, man, this is horrible. He's like, what do we do? I said, let me make some phone calls, right? So I start going up the line. I call my director not available. It's a Friday, right? It's like a Friday about 2 in the summer, like springtime. So you already know, everybody, like the executives are like, they happy hour, you know what I'm saying? Early happy hour. Director gone, can't reach her, right? It's an emergency. Leave a text message, 911. Call the VP. Hey, no answer. It's an emergency. Not, 911 on the text messages, right? Call the COO. Call his assistant. Can you get it? Nobody. I call the IVR again. I'm hearing these confidential. I'm like, man, hey, shut it down. I got to make the call. I'm a leader, right? Shut it down. So they shut it down. They're like, okay, we're going to reboot the whole system. That's the only way we can get this to work right. So for like 30, 45 minutes, mind you, a Fortune 500 company, technology company that is taking God knows how many phone calls, like a minute, you call it, you get a busy signal. But I had to make the call. At this level, I'm a senior manager. Well, as you probably guessed it, as soon as I shut it down, all of a sudden everybody's available, right? Hey, what's going on? Here's what's going on. Here's what I did. You what? And finally the COO gets a hold of me, and he gives me a scolding. Now, mind you, I'll be 50 this year. I'm in my late 20s at the time, so this is about 20 plus years ago. This whole idea of psychological safety wasn't a thing. So when I say he gave me a scolding, like I got cursed out. You know what I'm saying? I got cursed out. Right. And, it's funny, those us in Gen X, it's kind of like it is what it is. I was kind of like, all right, man, but I did what I thought I was supposed to do. Right. Wasn't the first time. And so that Monday I come in and I'm talking to a colleague of mine who's a mentor and a leader, a senior leader. And he's like, hey, man, they're really upset at you about what happened. In fact, I heard Jay's, the COO's name was Jay. I heard Jay say, you will never be a senior leader in this organization. Never. Setback. I thought I was doing the right thing. Anybody, if you had a setback and you thought you were doing the right thing, I want you to give me some hearts. Give me some hearts and in the Facebook. Give me some likes on YouTube. Like, I thought I was doing the right thing. I thought I was doing the right thing. Right? And so I'm like, okay. Now, mind you, my vision is to become a director in this organization. And I just heard information that says that can't happen. Like this guy is saying, nah, man. Like he will never. But here's the thing about setbacks. Like, here's the thing about the law of rhythm, right? You can't stay down. You got to go up. Here's the thing about the law of polarity. Every negative situation has its opposite that is positive. This man now knows my name. He now knows who I am. He now knows that I'm willing to take action. And I got to tell you all, at that time in my career, I didn't have that level of perspective. It was my mentor who was like, hey, you can run or you can lean in. You can run or you can lean in. You can turn this thing around. And I took his advice. I leaned in. A year later, I became a director. Why? Because I used that setback as a launch pad. Why? Because I shifted my perspective. Like now he knows my name. Now he knows who I am. If I can show him how I'm willing to take action, how I function in this organization, he'll see the value of what I did, even if we disagree. He saw it. Same guy. When I got promoted, my VP, I was in the office with my VP. I got promoted. I walked out. He was standing there. He was like, congratulations. Gave me a stiff handshake. I'm proud of you. Same person. This is, and all of us, I mean, I'm sure if I turned on the phone lines, you all have stories like this, right? But when we're navigating the setback itself, it's difficult to see. That moment that threatened my future is the moment that exposed my value. And sometimes that we get uncomfortable with that type of visibility, but that type of visibility is what takes us to the next level. How do we shift our mindsets? Always first with mental inputs, points of encouragement. How do I, lift myself? Through inspirational music, right? Through inspirational information, like mental inputs. Mental inputs become the weapons that you need for your mind. When you're in a setback, how do you fortify yourself and feed yourself mentally to hold the line so you can turn it into the positivity, right? Law of polarity. I feel negative right now. Let me flood myself with positive mental inputs so I can actually see the positivity in this situation, right? This week when I was going through things, I didn't play the blues. I didn't allow myself to go all the way down into that feeling. It's like, nah, man, like I'm still going to have a mindset of praise and gratitude. The thing I walked out more than anything was, let me be clear on all the things that I'm grateful for while I navigate this thing, right? The setback comes, but when it meets a mindset that is fixed, it doesn't matter. You are ready to turn that into a launching opportunity. Mental inputs. Mental inputs lead to mental acuity. Mental acuity is sharpness, the ability to see, I'm slipping into negativity. I'm slipping into, I need to push myself towards positivity, right? It becomes your leverage for the mental warfare of, am I going to sit with this anxious feeling and allow it to pull me into a place of inaction, or am I going to press forward with action regardless of how I feel? And all of that comes through the mind. How you arm yourself with the weapons necessary for your mental warfare is your mental inputs. What are you watching? Hey, when you're navigating a setback, there's no time like that to be playing around. This is when you got to get crystal clear on what I'm going to input into my mind. I'm grateful for a pen that writes. I'm grateful, start being grateful for everything. The other way, this mindset, the idea of mindset, a resilient mindset, is the ability to emotionally regulate under pressure. I tell my son, you'll get real upset sometimes, like, hey, man, breathe, right? This past week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday times I walk in there, I smell that water. You know how that water smells in there when it's like water everywhere? It's like I walk in, I smell it, I like, breathe, Linnell. Everything's going to be fine, right? And you have to refuse to let negativity drain your vision. Like I refuse to let what I see physically to pull me down. It don't look good. I refuse to let me pull it. Now, I refuse. You looking at your bank account. It don't look good. I refuse to let this pull me down. I refuse to let this pull me down. I'm trying to work through my relationship. I'm trying to have a good conversation with my partner, my spouse, and they react almost like viscerally, negatively. I refuse to let this pull on my commitment and pull me down. And this is where the willingness to pause instead of collapse comes from. Like, let me take another pause. Let me find the things that I am grateful for. Why is this important? If we don't have a mindset that is fixed and permanent, right? What happens is a setback can damage your identity. You start making mean something about you. I'm not good. I'm not this. I'm not, maybe this person is right. Oh man, if I'm always here financially, I'll never. It becomes a part of your identity. Maybe I'll always be this way. Maybe this is what's going on for me. Like, no, what do you need to learn? What do you need to learn that is going to take you to the next level? And in this situation right now, whatever you're feeling, law of polarity, what is the good thing about it that you can move forward with? What did you learn? It will erode your vision. You're looking at the setback, but the setback is just a part of the overall journey. Like 2026 just started. It's February. I don't know if you've had a setback too, but are you going to let that take you out? Or are you still fixed on the vision? Here's the other part. If I remain in the negative, right, and we learned this from the law of polarity a little while ago, if I remain in the negative, then the positive never reveals itself. It never reveals itself. When we maintain a resilient mindset, clarity increases. The opportunities that were always there, that are hidden beneath the surface, begin to reveal themselves. Right? Oh, look at that. Look at these possibilities. And the momentum, like when you crash into that wall, you had a momentum. That momentum you had before the crash comes back. It returns. And now you can move even faster. Your setback is not the story. It's the setup. It's the setup for the next thing. Every setback is a step up if you can mentally rise to meet it. Now, on the way in, I was thinking about today's show. And this is the one part that it really came to me. Because, when I'm driving in, a couple of things are happening. A lot of times I ride in silence. And today with the week, I was just kind of silent and in prayer. And I started thinking about, okay, that was the real estate, right? But where else do I need to look in my life at how it's functioning and where it needs to go? And so I just started thinking about the different businesses that my wife and I own. And one of the things that came to me was how I started. I started on the radio back in 2013. And it was an, inspirational show teaching fundamental lessons. And if you guys remember, I used to do like almost every month this workshop, Discovering and Live Your Life's Purpose. And that was my calling. And it still is my calling. And in all this, one of the things that came to me is like, hey, man, like part of the reason you left corporate America was to really ensure that people knew their purpose. And over the years, we've talked about a lot of things, but one of the things that has always been a circular theme is purpose. My wife and I were talking the other day, and she's like, "Hey, purpose is it's intimidating. A lot of people, like fear comes up, all these things come up when you talk purpose." And I was like, why is that? And everything that I've navigated, every setback, the common thread for turning it into a launch pad was purpose. clarity of purpose. Like, because I know fundamentally my identity, my spiritual identity, right? Because that's the real identity. Like, it gives me the grounding to walk through, everything has an opposite. I'm in negativity right now. There's a positivity, right? There's something positive on the other side. Law of rhythm. Everything goes down, but it must come up. It's giving me that fortitude, right? Because of a clarity of identity. On March 14th, I'll be teaching this course again. And if what I said today resonated with you, but you feel yourself slip from time to time and you don't have a steady anchor, I want to invite you to join me. You can go to LynellHarris.com to learn more about that, or you can give me a phone call and I'll walk you through it right now. Somebody just called in. They want to know my YouTube. YouTube is youtube.com. Well, it's at Lynell Harris. It's my name. If you go to YouTube and you put in Lynell Harris, Linal Harris, Harris, then my YouTube channel will pop up. Be sure to subscribe. The Creator's been good, man. And even when we go through the setback, sometimes it's hard to see it. It's hard to really, like, we're in the setback, and it's hard to see, like, man, how is this setback going to launch us into the next level? And this morning, I just really want to encourage you. Somebody said, yeah, I had a flat tire in 10-degree weather with my daughter in the car. But I got enough air in the tire to get back home okay. That's a blessing. These setbacks, man, and they hit us, and we wonder, like, how am I going to navigate this? How am I going to get around this? And I don't know about you all, but the Creator has been good, like, consistent. And no matter how deep it seems I'm going, like, always pulls me out. One of the frameworks I share is the be, do, have framework, where the first part of having anything is you have to be it. And that being is all, it has to vibrate through you. It has to be a part of your vibration. You got to trust it. And we live in an interesting world now, because with all this technology, with all this entertainment, like, I'm getting more and more sensitive to, like, I don't know, man, if it's the hot thing, I don't know if I want it. Like, hey, man, check this out. It's so good. A lot of times, man, it leaves you with this negative vibration, right? We like to be, we like to go through this, like, we like these mysteries and these suspenses, but like, where is it putting me? Be really thoughtful, like, does this align with what I'm looking to create in my life? Like, does it align? Does it align with who I intend to be? Does it align with where I intend to go? And am I so committed to that? Am I so willing to achieve that and be that, right? Because in order for me to have it, I have to be it, that I'm willing to forego some of this stuff, man. I don't need it. I don't want it. I just want peace and purpose and purpose and peace, because those are the things that truly fulfill my spirit. And, I guess that's just where I am now. I'm grateful this morning. I'm grateful. And it's funny because I got off the show last week and I walked into a week I didn't know I was going to have. And here I am, full circle, and I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful for it and looking forward to going into this week to a whole new level. Thank you for watching Inspirational Perspective. If you love this show and you want to see more content like this, you can go right here. And if you like this subject and you want to see much more content that we have available for you, just click the button here. As always, thanks for watching. Be sure to watch the show live, 7 a.m. every Sunday morning on WBON Radio or you can catch it right here on YouTube or facebook.com/Coach Liddell Harris. Be sure to hit that like button. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe so we can get more content just like this to you.